Excellency, the Dean of the Diplomatic Corps, for the kind greetings that you have given to myself, my Vice President, and the government and people of the Republic of Ghana. It being a new year, I wish to extend very warm greetings to members of the Diplomatic Corps and to wish you a more productive and transformative year. I also take the opportunity to convey through you to your respective governments and people our sincere appreciation for the warm bonds of friendship and cooperation that exist between our countries. It is my expectation that we'll continue together to build on our foundation of mutual goodwill and trust throughout the year 2015. Your Excellency, the Vice President, and your lovely wife, Matilda, Ministers of State and Deputy Ministers, Your Excellencies, members of the Diplomatic Corps, our respected traditional and religious leaders, political leaders, members of the clergy, ladies and gentlemen. This is one of the events on our annual calendar that I look forward to, and it is because we get to hold our own mini United Nations summit with almost all the countries and foreign institutions present. You are therefore welcome to the Peduasi Lodge for this year's traditional exchange of New Year greetings. Your kind words and the thought-provoking issues raised are very well appreciated. Your Excellency, Pavilion Tendai Misaka, Dean of the Diplomatic Corps. Our traditional coming together in the new year, as we're doing today, affords us the opportunity to reaffirm our commitment to the strengthening of the already cordial relations that exist between Ghana and your respective governments and organizations represented here. I therefore extend to the new heads of missions who assumed duty in Ghana during the past year our traditional Ghanaian welcome, in which we say Akwaba. With your arrival, we now have 62 diplomatic missions, consulates, and international organizations resident in Ghana. As a government, the expansion of diplomatic representation in our country is an important sign that Ghana is gaining new friends in the international community while at the same time keeping her old ones. We value greatly our ties of friendship and cooperation with all countries of the world and your organizations. And as you have seen yourselves, we will continue to strengthen these relations by contributing through the shared values that we uphold as a nation. Ghana values and recognizes its shared values with the people of the West African region and the African continent as a whole. Despite the challenges we have faced in our own country, we have notwithstanding not recoiled and abandoned our neighbors and friends in their own period of distress. We may have worked extra hard because of our chairmanship of the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, but be assured that we will have demonstrated the same level of commitment even if we were not to occupy that position. Today, the situation with the Ebola virus disease is becoming more manageable, but not out of the danger zone yet. We will not, however, have been here without the collective support of our international partners, our sub-regional grouping ECOWAS, and friendly countries of the world. Your Excellency, Vice President, ladies and gentlemen, extend to your respective governments and organizations our appreciation for the contributions made towards the fight against Ebola. Ghana is looking forward to the winding up of the UNMIA operations in the 3 countries of West Africa, because that will be a signal of good news that the disease has been contained. We must, however, begin to look seriously at the post-Ebola period in these countries, and I must commend the International Monetary Fund for moving proactively and responding to the call by the ECOWAS through the African Union for debt cancellation for the 3 most affected countries. It will be a vital contribution to rebuilding the structures of Liberia Guinea, and Sierra Leone. And that is critical to guaranteeing for their people reliable health and emergency systems. In taking the risk and offering Ghana as a logistics hub for UNMIR operations, in visiting the 3 most affected countries at the peak of the infection period, and in making the call for international support, I stated clearly that Ebola was not a West African or an African disease, but a global problem. Later events have vindicated this position, but also brings to the fore much more important issues for the future. Accordingly, I have accepted and joined with German Chancellor Angela Merkel and Norwegian Prime Minister Erna Solberg to propose to the United Nations the setting up of a high-level panel and the commissioning of a report on how to strengthen the international crisis management system, in particular in the health area. This proposal, I am assured, has been received by the Secretary General and is receiving his urgent attention. Your Excellency, the Vice President, members of the Diplomatic Corps, we have based this proposal on the lessons we have learned from the Ebola epidemic, and we believe that the UN Secretary General's panel may also consider mechanisms for information sharing at the outset of any national crisis, so that there is the opportunity for a faster and more coordinated response than we saw during the outbreak of Ebola in West Africa. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, ECOWAS has done it before. Africa has done it before, and therefore I'm confident that the multinational joint task force being deployed by the Lake Chad Basin countries and Benin, authorized by the African Union, will be a significant step in our continent-led efforts towards crushing the Boko Haram terrorist group, tormenting the lives of especially women and children in Nigeria, Chad, Cameroon, and Niger. I wish to express our continued unalloyed solidarity with the government and people of the Federal Republic of Nigeria in the fight to rid that country of this scourge and to ensure a conducive environment for development of the country and the West African region as a whole. In Mali, Somalia, South Sudan, Egypt, and Libya, we have pockets of disturbances. Ghana remains committed to regional security and the deployment of peacekeepers to numerous conflict zones, underlying our role as a key partner on security initiatives, not only in the West African sub-region, but in other parts of the world. As we have demonstrated, I wish to assure all our partners in ECOWAS, as well as the African Union, that you can count on Ghana's support and cooperation in counter-terrorism, counter-narcotics, combating human trafficking, and strengthening regional maritime security. There have been a number of initiatives and developments in the federations of the priority areas announced on assumption of office as chair of ECOWAS. When I assumed the chair of ECOWAS, I mentioned 3 priority areas, and these are peace and security, infrastructural development, and economic integration. We'll continue to take bold steps and implement decisions that enable ECOWAS to fulfill its noble goals of freer movement of persons, goods, and services, more intra-regional trade, and the signing and ratification of the economic partnership agreements with the European Union, the EU. On democratic governance and on behalf of ECOWAS, we wish to assure the interim president of Burkina Faso, His Excellency Michel Kafando, of our strongest support and urge him and the transitional authorities to remain committed to the holding of free, credible, and transparent democratic elections in October of this year. This must start with the adoption and implementation by mutual agreement of a firm timetable for the transitional process. It is our expectation that the transitional authority will also ensure at all times inclusiveness of all parties in Burkina Faso in the transition process, uphold the rule of law, and guarantee the liberties and safety of all citizens of that country. On this note, I wish to thank my colleague heads of state, President Goodluck Jonathan of Nigeria, and Macky Sall of Senegal, the African Union, and the United Nations for their contributions to the process of restoring normalcy to Burkina Faso in the shortest possible time. Your Excellency, Guinea-Bissau needs the support of all of us. Following successful elections, Ghana and ECOWAS have been providing the needed support to that country. And next week, here in Accra, on Monday, Foreign Minister Hannah Tete will be hosting some of her colleagues, foreign ministers, and the ECOWAS Commission to finalize preparation for a donor conference for Guinea-Bissau. If we are to sustain democratic governance in Guinea-Bissau, then we must support them to get out of the current situation where they do not even have the funds to pay public sector workers. I look forward to welcoming our major international development partners, donor countries, and organizations to the conference that will take place in Brussels in March in support of Guinea-Bissau. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, we will in this year continue vigorously our policy of good neighborliness, which has brought immense benefit to all our countries in the sub-region. I will strengthen my engagement with my colleague heads of state, even as our neighbors Togo, Burkina Faso, Nigeria, Cote d'Ivoire, and Guinea prepare for what are crucial elections. All these elections are aimed at the consolidation of democracy in West Africa. I therefore wish to use this occasion to call on all the member states involved in elections in West Africa this year to ensure that these elections are conducted in a peaceful, free, fair, and credible manner. I urge the government and people of these countries to take all the necessary measures to reach understanding between all the political interest groups on important issues related to the preparation, organization, and conduct of these elections. It is my hope that the successful outcome of these elections will deepen our democratic traditions and strengthen the environment of stability and development in our sub-region. The cascading effect of these successful elections in the 5 neighboring countries will have a positive impact upon the projection of Africa as a continent on the rise, where democracy is being entrenched and strong institutions that support good governance are replacing authoritarian rule. Your Excellencies, it is in the light of our desire to continue to maintain good neighborliness and solve all our problems as neighbors in an amicable manner that Ghana decided in September 2014 to initiate arbitration proceedings under the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea to establish its maritime boundary with our sister country, Cote d'Ivoire, in a manner that is equitable to both states and final and binding upon the 2 countries in accordance with international law. The increasing interest of our partner countries to lay the red carpet and hold bilateral and investment discussions with us increased in 2014. And as we speak, I still have several invitations to pay state visits to a number of countries across all the 6 continents. As a lower middle income country, we recognize the growing partnership with especially Europe, which saw 4 European countries, Germany, Norway, Denmark, United Kingdom, and France, sit and discuss mutually beneficial bilateral issues with us in the past year. Our Far East and Middle East partners, especially in the area of infrastructure development, is also fast expanding. And in line with my personal commitment to improve intra-African trade, I have deepened my country's relations with a number of African countries, which include Kenya, South Africa, Botswana, and others. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I welcome your support for our economic program and our program with the International Monetary Fund. We're working to secure the approval of the Executive Board for the program, especially as most of the measures we discussed with the fund have begun to be adopted and implemented in our 2015 budget. The IMF program will, to a large extent, strengthen our homegrown reform policies that we presented as part of the review of our Article 4 consultation and the Senchi National Economic Forum consensus. These are measures we have been implementing since 2013. Additionally, and on the economic front, we have started to work to contain the public sector wage bill in order to preserve our macroeconomic stability, ensure debt sustainability, and safeguard planned infrastructure expenditure. The overruns on the public sector wage bill have risked crowding out other expenditures and severely constrained Ghana's long-term development that we're committed not to see happen. It was a challenging year, ending with a worsening power deficit resulting from many factors. I have this week visited a number of our generating plants, and it only confirms the need for us to increase our thermal generation capacity. As Ghana becomes more attractive for independent power production, government will do all in its part to meet the target of the 5,000 megawatts vision and draw out a policy towards sustainable increases in generation towards meeting the growing business, industrial, and household demands we are experiencing. I take this opportunity to express our appreciation to our development partners who have kept faith with us throughout these trying times. It is my expectation that the initiative we took into entering negotiations with the IMF in October 2014 for support of our homegrown program for revamping the economy will begin to bear the expected fruits in 2015. Ghana cherishes the deepening of our democratic dispensation, pursuit of good governance, commitment to sustainable economic growth, unwavering respect for the rule of law, and responsible free expression and the creation of a favorable climate for investment. These are important values which should resonate well with all true friends who share our interests and desire to cooperate with us in our efforts to build a stronger, safer, and a better Ghana. We will continue to be a beacon of hospitality, democracy, and a model of openness and transparency in our governance and democratic practices, and we shall continue to be an oasis of peace and stability in our sub-region. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, elsewhere on our globe, events at the end of 2014 gave us hope that the year 2015 will indeed be the dawn of a new era in international relations. On 17 December 2014, the United States of America and Cuba announced that they would begin to resume full diplomatic relations after more than 50 years of an economic blockade. We hail this new chapter in US-Cuban relations as a significant step forward in drawing down the curtain on a development which has been a source of tension between the two nations since the days of the Cold War, which ended years ago. While we applaud an overdue end to one era of Cuban-American relations, we wish to restate our call for a total removal of the economic, commercial, and financial blockade imposed over 50 years ago by the United States, which continues to cause enormous damage to the Cuban economy. It is our expectation that the implementation of the economic measures promised by the United States will have a tangible impact on the lives of ordinary Cubans and Americans alike, and result in the establishment of full diplomatic relations for the mutual benefit of the two countries and for the enhancement of global peace and security in the years ahead. I seize this opportunity to once again condemn the recent cowardly terrorist attack that claimed the innocent lives of 17 people in France. Fundamentalism in religion anywhere cannot be an excuse to attack people and shed innocent blood. We express our solidarity with the government and people of France in standing up to the perpetrators of this heinous act and wish to convey to the families of the victims our heartfelt condolences in this time of pain. We wish also to condemn the recent killing of 2 Japanese hostages and the brutal and dastardly murder of a Jordanian pilot by the ISIS terrorist group. Our hearts are with the families of all these hostages, and I wish to extend the condolences of Ghana to Japan and Jordan. Ladies and gentlemen, in conclusion, I wish to reiterate the commitment of the government of Ghana to working with your respective countries and organizations in the year we have just begun to advance our common agenda for stronger economic and political cooperation and deepening the strong and abiding friendship of our countries. And I wish you and your families good health and happiness during the year, and above all, success in your duties as accredited representatives of your country and organizations in our dear country. May God bless you and bless our relations with your respective countries and organizations throughout the year 2015. I thank you, and God bless our homeland, Ghana.